understanding your system trends, metabolic rates. What I've observed is if you keep lower calcium, magnesium, pH, temperature levels, lower nutrient levels, you get slower growth, which makes sense, right? But if you want to accelerate growth, you run higher calcium, magnesium, everything higher, because obviously you want to grow faster, you got to eat more too, right? That's where you're going to get away with higher nutrient levels because of the higher metabolic rate. But if you do the other opposite, which is you have higher parameters for your water, with low nutrient levels, you're going to start seeing RTN and STN, which is rapid tissue necrosis, or slow tissue necrosis, or the skin starts peeling away because it's trying to grow but starve. Right? So when you start thinking about it, it makes sense. A lot of people ask about ORP, which is oxidation response potential. It's a parameter which is how well the system can break down nutrients and waste. And it's measured in millivolts, but don't go by the nominals necessarily, just follow the trend. If it goes up near 350 millivolts, that means the system is clean and healthy and can break down waste faster than we can build up. But if you see your trend start dropping, your waste is building up in this process. So you need to start investigating why that is. But you can see it happening. When you feed, it'll drop. So use this information as a tool to react to what has happened, and then you start understanding how your system behaves. So a lot of people say, okay, well, now that we know the goals, how do we control it? So water chemistry targets. You want to reach or approach the natural seawater, replenish, export nutrients, and visually see, you should be able to tell when your livestock are. So that, without measuring anything, just let your visual, that's be the indicator without you measuring. That's the highest level of response. And automation is a great tool for stability because it's like you can't be there all the time. And it's a friend, it's a tool, but it works well if it's set up right, like anything else. So you want to maintain water volumes for salinity stability, promote proper bacterial diversification. So a lot of these different bacterial additives do help. And designed for serviceability. If you can't service it, you won't do it. Right? If the sump is buried in there and you can't get into it, how often do you think you're going to be cleaning it? So plan for serviceability. Make it accessible. Make it close to the sink. Make it close to. I do automatic water changes. I run everything, drains into my hose, into my sump, into my drain there, and I don't have to lift a bucket. So think about, if you get tired of lifting buckets, think about it. There's ways to, a lot of solutions to problems. But if you plan it ahead of time, you don't have to, that'll determine where's the best spot to put the tank. So as far as replenishment, there's different ways to do it. There's hawk. So I use all three of these because my calcium reactor isn't actually big enough. It's only designed for 200 feet. But I run this primarily because of trace elements that it adds back in. Plus, to me, it's cheaper in the long run. Part you can do as well. Like I said, I'm cheap. I do all the stuff out of off-the-shelf materials like alkalinity, is Arm & Hammer baking soda, calcium, calcium chloride, or Preston driveway heat, or if you go to BJ's, that's the next thing that I found. And magnesium, Roadrunner magnesium. So if you look up, there's a lot of DIY. Randy Holmes Farley's DIY two-part. Good read, saves you money. and I've been doing it for using the same stuff for at least 15 to 18 years. Never had a problem. But key is making sure you look at the raw material, MSDFG, like it says, 100% pure. That is the key. Even if it's not 100% pure, because the stuff you buy from off the shelf, if you watch the VRS videos about testing all their stuff, even the stuff that you think was supposed to be good off the shelf, there's contaminants in there too. The Red Sea stuff, what do you think they got it? Red Sea. I don't know. So there is stuff, bird food in there, who knows? So they're doing the regular basic stuff, but they also have, so they have 3-step here, they got no pots, they have iodine, potassium, iron. So it's just saying, hey, there's a dosing system that you can dose liquid multi-parts in. You can do the same thing. But I use this liquid 2-part as just a backup. Now, if this doesn't have capacity, and if it's still low, I run my alkalinity and calcium and magnesium by dosing to make up for the offset. And then I use my caulk washer purely for my auto top off for pH control. So with my controller, if my pH is less than 8.2, I top off with caulk. If it's over 8.4, I'll need top off with RO water. And that has helped quite a bit to maintain pH. That's basically what this is. It's a very crude drawing about maintaining pH. I have a float switch that goes to my controller that acts as a decision gate between the same RO water, but you have a pump for the caulk reactor, which is just, you put a caulk a couple weeks in here, and it'll use this for auto top off. If the pH is low, bring the pH back up. If it's high, just run fresh water. So that's something new that I also kind of learned many years ago from the Red Sea guy. He did a lot of automation. But things like fresh air around your house and skimmers help with pH as well, but not as much. But just opening the window can do way more help than that. Also, a lot of people are running a lot of bare bottom tanks, but in the early days when I went to bare bottom, I noticed I didn't have a lot of buffering capacity. So I threw some sand back in because the calcium carbonate. You'll notice that over time, you have sand. Over time, 8 years, it starts melting away. You get less sand over time because it is being degraded over time. But my main solution has been the dual control all the time, because that controls that a lot more active. Nutrient control. One of the things that we've discussed online has been what they call the Redfield ratio. Redfield ratio is when they took and looked at a cellular level what is in the zooxanthellae, and they always find kind of close to 16:1 nitrate to phosphate ratio in the cell, and that's in the actual organisms. So what I've seen is like for every 16 parts of nitrates, the bacterial assume that 1 part of phosphate. So that's why when I see my nitrates level are 0, my phosphate starts growing up, and until I dose more nitrates back in, now the bacteria has both seen both at the same ratio. And testing of nitrates and phosphates is kind of important. More important these days than in the past. We're learning more. People just used to focus on the chemical parameters. Now we're focusing more on nutrients. Now we've got one half kind of solved, the next is understanding nutrients. And talk about biological diversification of bacteria. You can feed and promote bacteria consistently by carbon dosing. We started in the past with sugar, vodka, some vinegar, but biopellets is what I run because it maintains some type of food source. So if you accidentally forget to feed and things dry, you don't have a big drop in bacterial population. And then you overfeed and now it's trying to catch up. This at least gives it a source of food continuously. So it maintains the population and maintain something. And it's and carbon dosing biofilter, in my opinion, is better because it's set it and forget. With sugar, vodka, and vinegar, you have to keep on increasing or decreasing the dosage based on the biofilm. So every time you put more, then you got to feed more. The growth rate's higher, you got to drip more. And there's no easy way to measure it. So with biopellets, the bacteria control, you consume more or less based on what it needs, based on the ratio of nitrates and phosphates in the water. So it's almost automatic. And the simplest thing is remove the detritus as much as possible. It just builds up. And to me, the best investment has been the wet filter. Because if you have a filter sock, you got to clean that every 2 days. Wet filter keeps incrementing constantly. I have mine testing with a vendor on some of his materials. Got it to last for like 3 to 4 months. So technology is friend. Talking about some technology, automation, if set up correctly, it drives it. You can have automation screw your system up too. So that's what you need to understand capabilities, how it works, and making sure you understand the highs and lows, what it's capable and not capable in some times. But monitoring and testing is the first thing to do because if you can automate that, laziness gets in the way. Because if you don't have something that automatically measures for you, it's up to you to measure. And life happens. And if you miss something and nothing tells you that something's wrong, you don't know. So you don't know how to react. So if you're going to automate anything, monitoring and testing is the first thing. Controllers, that helps stabilize it. Because like I said, you're not there every day. If you set it up to run a certain way, it'll do it. And you can, based on your programming of how to maintain, it's the parameters and requirements to put in there that will drive things to go. And it also allows you to maintain your tank. If you're not there. That is the key thing. The whole Internet of Things. You know, make use of that technology. And I talked about virtual presence, which is mostly cameras. So just because the controller will say hey, something's on or off, I want to double check to make sure that's true. So having the camera there that'll tell you, did it turn off?
Sorry, I think she's giving the presentation all of a sudden.
So having virtual presence will help you with understanding how the controller works and its limitations, but also help with your reef buddy if you're there because you have to explain to people how your system works. I have a healing roller mat. I have a clear EI4, and the roller mats have been doing pretty good. And I found a vendor on eBay that I tested a bunch of different materials for him, I got for free, and I can get that roll cheaper than double the volume, length, what they were originally selling for the same price. So it's used to be a coolant filter for machining equipment, right? And you can get it in different micron filter size. The basic filter size is 200 microns, right? You can get ones that are 100 microns. But why would you need anything less? Because over-filtering isn't necessarily good because corals eat those particles. So you don't want super sanitized, right? So I leave it at 100 microns. I want it to flow enough that I don't burn up the web, but I don't want it so sparkling and clean that my corals don't have anything to eat. Right? So filter saves a lot of time. You know, wash the socks. People don't want to touch it. I really don't want to touch it. And when I'm away for weeks at a time, I was in southern France for a month, the whole month of August. And if it clogs in 2 days, who's going to do it? That's why when I'm the tip. When you go on vacation, remove your filter size. Because once they clog, I had a friend I was taking care of, she She had filter socks in there, and every couple of days they clog. Well, the water level change, her auto top off sensor was a result of started adding fresh water in there, and the salinity went up, down every 2 days, and it was locked. Depending on your water volume, you have a smaller tank, that small little change is huge. You can drop from 35 parts per thousand down to 31. And that's what happened there. You had to keep on adding more salt to slowly bring it back up over a period of how many hours to bring it back to state. So remove your filter socks if you go on vacation. So as far as products that I've been using, I still have the Apex Classics because I couldn't justify buying a new one. Even if I do, I would, it would be the Trident, but my stuff works right now, and I couldn't justify spending $800. Something still works, right? And I already have 2 Classics. One is a backup, always have a backup. So that's another thing. Always dies right before you leave to go somewhere. I have been running the KH Guardian for 2 years, which is purely just an alkalinity controller, but it works. Sure, I had to debug some firmware for them, but they were able to get me something fixed because they raised my alkalinity up to 16 over a period of a week. And I had to shut everything off and let it slowly drip back down to 11. So, but automation can be good or bad, but you have to keep track of the technology. So I just purchased a Reef bot to automate all my testing. So web filters are your friend. It's simple technology, but it works. Skimmer neck cleaners. If you don't clean your skimmer neck, it doesn't do anything more than it's supposed to. So this is just a squeegee that goes around in there, and I only have to clean that once every couple of months. And dosers are pretty straightforward. They'll help dose the supplementation, but if you don't have a smart dosing system based on feedback from the testing, it's not going to adjust the elements based on it. So that's why you have to keep reprogramming the doses every time if you see a big shift. So this is just a plug. If you want to look more about automation, look on this website at Software Smarts. A couple years old, but it still applies. It talks about cheap automation to expensive stuff. So you can automate with the timer, right? Plug-in timer, that works. So there's a lot of ways to do things cheaper than everyday stuff you can find. And then I have this little Facebook page where I've been documenting all the little information that I've accumulated over the years that I found online in one spot. I noticed as I got older, I started forgetting stuff, so at least I can go back and say, hey, I read this somewhere before, and I have it all. So I have an article that are kind of consolidated, DIY everything. I talk about power outages because it happened a couple of years ago with a windstorm that we had here. That was the first power outage I ever had, and I couldn't justify, statistically, not justify buying a generator until that. And it's like, okay, I borrowed, luckily I had the one obvious here in Nine, this street didn't use power. I borrowed his generator for 11 hours. I actually ran it off my car for 11 hours. 400 watt inverter. But luckily I didn't lose anything, but the water did get down to like 65 degrees, so it was kind of crazy. Talking about pests, predators, that's why when you think about stocking, stock based on stuff that helps you first, not just oral maintenance, because there's things we still got to do, like cleaning clogs, if you want to reduce allergy. Some stuff can't eat everything. Sometimes you still got to go under the brush. Get a little Hello Kitty vibration brush and scrub some of that stuff off. Small little things, monthly, save time instead of letting it spread. Frozen food feeder I need, automatic frozen food refrigerator I need, with a dosing pump in there, and has enough to feed the defrosted frozen food for a week. And many tidbits. talk here. This is some of the frags I was throwing out. And like I said, photography is the next thing that kind of goes with the hobby. You always want to see, and one thing I always like to do is when I get something, I want to see what I started with, and I keep taking pictures as they grow. And I think ultimately, long term, is can you get something to be this big? This is my Ori Red Planet. It's in the top of my 125. It's about probably like 20 something inches long, 18 inches wide. It's underneath the race, so that's not coming out anytime soon. But all that was grown with a 1-inch roll. Sure, this thing is probably 15 to 18 years old in this tank, but it's stuff that is this is your success, right? So if you can have something thrive and under your care, that to me is the meaning of success. And at least in this hobby, if you can get stuff that grows fast, at least you can try to get something out of it, right? Trade it in, sell it to local hobbies. That to me, at least, it's something that you can get some return. That's all I got. Any questions?
I don't have tanks. The thing is that one of my concerns is that in the wintertime, we heat our house with a big wood burning stove in the middle of the house. And
CO2?
Yeah, I'm thinking about the CO2. Plus, also, I have like rapid temperature changes. You know, like, for instance, we'll load the fireplace up at night and then keep the house really warm. But then by, let's say, morning, it's probably cool.
So the heating system, that's why heating is easier than cooling. So if you're worried about winter time, I wouldn't worry too much about that. But the key is having what range of temperature you're talking about. As long as you have the right heating wattage available, and even though they say you need 300 watts, get two 150 watt heaters. Don't just go with one, because if that one goes, you're done. At least with the two, they'll go on staggered because you don't want to have overload. One sucking up way more wattage, you don't want to pop a breaker, right? So you want to stagger it so that if it gets to a certain threshold, it's only using one at a time, and then the second one will be kind of like a secondary supplemental if it needs more juice. And so heating it, you can do a lot better controlling it.
Now, I know you said you heat with wood.
Yeah.
Right? We heat with pulp. Okay, so, similar concept, different execution. Obviously, they both drag it out. And my evaporation is stronger from the but I found even the temperature swing, even when they run the darn thing out of pellets and it drops all the way to like 50 degrees, my tank still stays at 78.
It takes a while for the temperature.
You just have to make sure you know good that's really all it is. There's no hot water and there's not water. This is steady. So you just gotta make sure that you have, like you were saying, an accurate.
I've had freshwater tanks before, but I used to live down in Florida and I didn't have freshwater tank. But I'm there at saltwater. And my stepson, he actually is the one that runs this show. Yeah, so he's talking me into a saltwater tank.